Round 7 predictions brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place for predictions and opinion. Well, is it? I don't know. But let's have a look at my performance so far. We've had 6 rounds, so how am I doing in the old prediction league? So here we go. I've got 62% of the predictions right, apparently. That puts me in 1,332nd on the old Super Brew, in the top 30% of people. So, yeah, perhaps not great. What have I had? I've had 2 good rounds where I've beaten people. You can see these green lines here. Even got 1 full perfect round. A couple of red ones where I've done worse than the average, and a couple of average ones recently. So, ho-hum, there or thereabouts, really. Could do lots better, I think, is really the probably the your kind of report card at this point. So anyway, let's get into this round of games. And who have we got? Well, we've got La Rochelle versus Clermont, Grenoble versus Bordeaux, Begles, Racing versus Lyon, Pau versus Perpignan, Toulouse versus Agen, Castres v Stade Francais, and Montpellier versus Toulon. So first up, we have, I say, La Rochelle versus Clermont. This is an interesting one. La Rochelle sat way down in 10th, amazingly enough, but they have won, and this is going to be one of those things, isn't it? They've won their 3 home games, they've lost their 3 away games. Yeah, but if you look at their home games, who have they beaten? They've beaten Lyon, which was a decent game, Perpignan and Grenoble. Perpignan and Grenoble are 13th and 14th, the last and second last, but they did get that good win over Lyon. Away from home, now shall I say, they've lost all of their games, unsurprisingly. Clermont, on the other hand, 5 wins from 6 games, were going really well until they lost to Bordeaux on the road by 4 points. But they only beat Pau by 4 points as well. So their away form has been a bit patchy. And for that reason, I'm going to back La Rochelle to win by 3. I think it's one that could go either way. I think it'll be a close game, a cracker. And even though La Rochelle are down in 10th and Clermont are top of the table, that old away piece does play a big part. Grenoble then host Bordeaux. Now Grenoble, as I say, down in 13th place. Just that 1 win over Perpignan at home. Now Bordeaux sit up in 7th place and have had 4 home games, of which they've won 3 and drawn 1. Away from home, not so great. Two trips away, 2 losses, including to Agen, who are in 11th place, and Stade Francais, who are up in 2nd. But still, even with that woeful away record, I'm going to back Bordeaux to win by 3. Again, I think that woeful away record, what kind of side are they going to take with them? They could slip up there against Grenoble. Racing then hosts Lyon. This should be a really good game. We're looking at 4th versus 5th in the table, and when you're looking at games of that kind of level, you've got to say that home advantage will be key. Racing have lost at home to Clermont, but Lyon have won away, but there's only that 1 game, which was against Perpignan, who are bottom of the table. So, but with that draw with Toulouse, shows that away from home, Lyon can travel. Even so, I'm going to back Racing by 7. Now, for these 2 sides, and actually also for Clermont at the top of the page, the top of the round, we've got to remember this is the last round before European competition. So will some of these top teams rest a few players for the European Champions Cup? Historically, the top 14 has taken precedent over that, but nowadays teams like Racing and Clermont do want to do well in the European Champions Cup. Lyon probably less so. Will be more concerned, I think, with top 14 action, but the other 2 may rest a couple of players. Pau then hosts Perpignan. Perpignan 6 games, 6 losses, and let's be honest, that means we are going for a home victory for Pau by 10. There's no point sticking around talking too much about that game. Toulouse then host Agen. Now Toulouse got that run of 3 wins which well, a draw and 3 wins, which means they didn't lose their first 4 games. But since then, they've lost 2 on the bounce to Montpellier and Castres. But up against Agen, who are down in 11th, you've got to say that they should win this one quite comfortably. The Agen's only wins have been at home. Away from home, they've lost by 44 points, 52 points and 30 points. So I'm backing Toulouse to win by 20. So even though they have lost their last 2, I think they're up for a big win here because I think Agen will just rest a lot of players and they are at the wrong end of the table. Next, another tasty encounter. Second place, Stade Francais travel to Castres, who are in 3rd place and who are the reigning champions. Again, will either of these sides decide? Well, actually, Stade didn't do that great last season, but will Castres decide to rest any players? I doubt it very much. I think both these sides will definitely be concentrating on the top 14 and not get distracted by European competition. As I say, it should be a cracker. Both sides are going very well. I'm backing Castres by 3. Also, one is just a bit too tight to call. And you might say, well, Paul, what about this home advantage and teams not travelling in France? Well, if you look at Stade, they're one of the teams that travel very well. They've won 2 out of 3 of their trips away. The only trip they've lost away was to Clermont, who are top of the table. The other game they've lost was to Racing, was at home, who are sat in 4th. So you're looking at top quality opposition they've lost to. Castres, on the flip side, won both their games at home, but they were to Lyon and Grenoble. Let's not be, Lyon, decent side, obviously in 5th, but Grenoble, what does that really tell you? Probably not that much. Lyon, Grenoble and Toulouse have won. So they won 3 at home. 2 at home, sorry. They've had 4 games on the road, so they'll be actually having quite a bit of trouble. Still, I'm going to back Castres by 3. Final game of the round sees Montpellier host Toulon, and this one should be no kind of contest. Toulon, obviously a side that in recent memory have gone very well, but that's all fallen apart. We talked a bit about that on the #rugby chat last night, so you can go back and have a listen to that one if you like. 2 wins for Toulon so far, both at home against Castres and Agen. Away from home, they've been pretty awful. Lost to Pau by 10. Lost to Stade Francais and Clermont by 27 and 20. Now, true, that is 1st and 2nd in the table. But Montpellier, who are down in 6th, are starting to get their act together. They've won their last 2 against Toulouse and Perpignan. They beat Toulouse by 51 points at home. Montpellier by 15. But as I say, beating Toulouse by 51 points, this one really could blow out to any score. Who knows? So that's how I see things going. Always up for our rugby chats. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and all of that kind of lovely stuff so you don't miss any more videos. And enjoy everybody watching this weekend. The All Black Show will be back in about an hour and a half at 8 p.m. New Zealand time. So do dial in for that.